I bought an untested bundle of PS2 consoles and games from Goodwill, and in this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at everything and see if we can get everything to work. So we have two boxes here. I think one box is a PS2 fat, one is a slim. We'll just start with the smaller box and see what's inside. So I think in total I paid like $120 maybe for both of the PS2s and games. Let's go ahead and see what's inside of this box. All right, get the packaging out. We've got one controller, and this first one, oh, that's a little bit rough. Definitely a very dirty controller, but other than the dirt, it doesn't look too terrible. We've got a cord. That's an interesting wrapping job. Fancy. Got an AV cord there. We've got another controller here. Oh, and it's a blue controller. Nice. These are always cool. We got some hair stuck to it. Again, just a dirty controller, but other than the fact that it's dirty, it looks like it should be okay. Pretty neat wrapping job here on the cord. We've got a stack of games. Let's go ahead and pull those out. And then down here, we should have a console. All right, so I have the console out. Let's take a look at it. At first glance, doesn't look too bad. It's definitely a bit beat up. I mean, it's a PS2. These things are just like notorious for getting beat up. There's so many of them out there. But we got some scratches in the bottom. Actually, the back doesn't look too bad. And we actually have the network adapter right here, which is pretty cool to see. Now that well, there might be some use for it now, but not natively. Obviously, you can't plug into the internet and use a PS2 nowadays. Got the warranty seal over here. It looks like it's still intact. Maybe. It looks like it might have been ripped up before. Not sure. And then here on the top, definitely a bit dirty and stuff. But yeah, I've definitely seen worse. And of course, we got our controller here. That's pretty filthy. And we've got a stack of games here. I don't think there's anything special, but let's just take a look at all of them. We got Heat Seeker. I want to take a look at these discs right here, and oh yeah, that's pretty scratched up. We've got Giant Citizen Kabuto. That one's not too bad. We've got CSI, 3 Dimensions of Murder. That one's not too scratched up, but it's pretty dusty and dirty. Weird. We've got Puzzle Challenge, and this one looks like somebody spilled some Coke on it. Always funny to see. It's got the PS2 blue disc. Again, this one is pretty dusty, but not really scratched up. Also got Star Wars Battlefront. This is a pretty popular game on the PS2. Oh, and that disc looks pretty nice. And then last but not least, we have Puzzle Fusion Lumens. Puzzle Fusion Lumens Plus. I don't know why that's hard to say, but it is. And that disc looks really good as well. And it's always interesting seeing where these games came from. We've got the sticker here that says Most Valuable Games, $1. Was Most Valuable Games a store? I don't know. None of these other ones have store stickers. That looks like it was from a yard sale. Just interesting to see where they came from. Let's go ahead and put this to the side. Let's open up the other box as well. All right, so I got everything out from the second box. I kind of, for some reason, completely forgot that I usually unbox on camera, but I did it off camera. And we got a controller here. This one is got no grips at all left. Nice, very dirty as well. We've got a power supply here. I will say they wrapped these up very nicely. Power supply looks good. We've got AV cable over here, and then we have a power cable here. And then last but not least, we should have a PS2 Slim right inside of this bubble wrap, and we do. And at first glance, it doesn't look too terrible. Pretty beat up and scratched up on top. Kind of same deal on the bottom. We're missing 2 rubber feet, which is unfortunate. But we do still have the warranty seal intact. Here on the back, looks pretty good. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. I mean, the PS2 Slim is so small that there's not even that much you can beat up. It's a bit dusty inside of there. This one didn't come with any games, just the controller, but the controller is probably the worst part of any of these bundles because this left stick is pretty slow. Yeah, the whole thing is pretty dirty. But let's go ahead and plug these consoles in, see if they work, and then we'll clean them up. So I have the PS2 fat plugged in first. Let's go ahead and flip the switch on. Okay. Took it a second for the red light to turn on, but it is on now. Let's turn the green button on, and it's booting up. Maybe? Yes. Let's go. And I noticed on this controller, it looks like it's been patched up a couple times. It's got a little, it's not even electrical tape. It looks like somebody did like an official patch job on this wire. I'm not going to call it official, but better than just electrical tape. Now let's go ahead and see if the disk drive opens up. It does. It's not the smoothest thing in the world, but it does open up. It vibrates a little bit. That's kind of typical for PS2s. Now, yeah, just looking inside the disk drive is very, very dusty and dirty. Let's try out a game, though. We got this Lumix game, which, if you saw the disc earlier, it looks very clean. So if the laser's good, this game should work. Now, one thing you will notice is that the orbs are spinning. That means the clock should be good on this thing. Now, I do want to... Oh, wait, this controller doesn't even work. I was trying to select what I was doing on the home menu, but it wouldn't let me do anything. The game is booting up, but I want to go back to the main menu real quick and test out this controller and see if it even does anything. Yeah, like this controller is doing nothing. But it's got power. You can see the analog light comes on when I click it, so it's got power to it, but it's not doing anything on the screen. I won't be too surprised because this controller is pretty beat up, and actually the plug is like barely fitting. Let me try the second port right here. Yeah, I think this controller is just like dead. That's awesome. Let's try the second controller. This one looks a little bit better than that first one, so I got a little bit more hope here. And it is working. Okay, so that first controller is just dead. That's unfortunate. That's money down the drain. That's the problem with buying untested stuff from Goodwill. Never know when it's going to work or not. Now let's go ahead and put this game back in, see if it does work. If there was one that's going to work, I'm glad the blue one works because the blue one's just cool color and stuff. And here's a disc, shows up. Let's go ahead and select it and make sure it reads up. Now the whole apparatus here smells a bit musty, which, you know, it makes sense. It's an old console. The controller smells even like dried sweat kind of musty. I don't know what's going on there. Once they clean it up and stuff, it should be okay to go. By the way, I will be selling this stuff on my website down below. Hopefully I have this listed by the time by the time you're watching this video, and you can check it out if you want to. I try to list everything for a reasonable price and that sort of thing, and this game seems to work fine. I do want to try the other games and see if these other games work as well. All right, so Star Wars Battlefront is booting up as well, and man, it's actually like, I was surprised. Like the console, the disc drive is not that loud. Like PS2s usually have a pretty loud disc drive. The fan is buzzing, but it's nothing too crazy. 2 games work. Now I will be surprised if some of these other games work because they're very scratched up. Nothing was actually too crazy, but I do have a disc resurfacing machine just in case I need to do that. This one probably needs it. That one looks really bad. And hey, surprisingly, this Heatseeker game is booting up. That's the one that was like, the disc was mutilated. I wouldn't say mutilated. I've seen a whole lot worse than this one, but it was pretty bad. Now, I'm going to save the rest of the games to try out on the PS2 Slim, so let's go ahead and plug that one in and see if that console works. All right, PS2 Slim is plugged in now. I do see a red light. Let's turn it on, see if it boots up. We'll try out this second controller as well, or third controller, sorry. And this is the one that I don't have much hope in. Actually, I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. Like I think it'll probably boot up, but of course the sticks are junk. And yeah, it's not doing anything. Awesome. So 2 controllers that straight up just do not work. Let me try the second port here. Oh yeah, second port worked. Okay, so maybe I didn't plug it all the way in the first port to start with. Nice. Did we have a broken first port? I actually don't think I've ever seen that on a PS2. That's gonna be tragic. Let's go ahead and plug this controller back in. Yeah, dude, I think we have a, oh no, that's working. On the known good controller, the first port is working, but on this other controller, the second port worked, but not the first port. That's a little odd. See, in the second port right now, it's working. Looking inside of these ports, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but it does look like one of the pins is actually missing on this controller right here. So maybe that's why it's not working on the first. But I don't know why, even if it is missing a pin, I don't know why it would work on the second port and not the first port. Unless the first port uses that pin and the second port doesn't, but that would be weird, right? I don't know the pin out of those ports, but you can tell in this one clearly the battery is dead. The clock battery, I mean, it's not, the orbs are not spinning. Not a big deal, it's just something to note. I'm sure there are some games that use that, but I don't know which ones. I know there's not too many. Let's try out some more games though. We got Puzzle Challenge. Let's go ahead and put this one in, see if it works. That one looks pretty dusty. I probably should have wiped it off before I put it in, but YOLO. let's just try it out. And hey, that read that disc really quickly. Nice. All right, so it's just straight up a puzzle game, like a crossword puzzle game. I don't really think I want to play this right now, but it is working. The disk drive made a weird noise when it was booting up, but I think it was just part of the reading process. Giant Citizen Kabuto. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but looks like a very interesting game. Yeah, none of these discs were actually too bad. There was that one disc that was really scratched up. The other ones are just not bad though. But we'll test these other 2 out as well. So I haven't tested this controller yet, but I just opened the battery pack up and noticed there are batteries in here. Hopefully they're not corroded here, and yeah, they're actually not. But it is very dirty inside of this thing. But it's not like, doesn't appear to be corrosion dirty. I'll test that out in a minute. Dude, where am I? I'm like a robot or something in like a prehistoric island. I don't even know. I think I just saw some pterodactyls fly around. Maybe a T-Rex. Can I go in the water? Oh, I can go in the water, but I get attacked by like piranhas or something. What in the world? Get out of here. Come on, go. All right, but it is working. Cool. I'll test out the other game as well, and then we'll go ahead and open these consoles up, and I want to see what the inside looks like. The Slim doesn't look too bad, but I think the PS2 Fat's going to be very dirty on the inside. All right, guys, so we're going full glove mode today. I haven't done this in a long time, but I probably should, considering how dirty some of these consoles I've gotten recently have been. But let's go ahead and take this PS2 Slim apart and see what the inside looks like. So unfortunately, we do have to remove this warranty seal right here, which not a big deal. It just kind of takes away from the factory look, obviously. And of course, the first layer comes off without even getting the warranty seal off. Nice. All right, there we go. Got that nice void sticker. Let's go ahead and pop these little pieces off. And man, you gotta love how easy it was to take apart some of these old consoles. Pop off a few little rubber feet, take out 6 screws, and it's apart. So nice. I was trying to take the console apart and realized I just completely missed a screw here. No wonder that one section of the console was not coming off. There it goes. That's a lot easier. Man, the PS2 Slim is so simple. Pop the top off. You got a little bit of dust there, nothing too crazy. Open up. Oh, that was a little more than I expected. It's not too crazy in there either. Put that away. And yeah, pretty basic. You don't even have like a completely different assembly for the disk drive like you do in most consoles. It's just like built in with the motherboard and stuff. And yeah, man, like it's Not too terrible. It's definitely dusty in here, but honestly what I'll do here is probably just use my electric duster and blow stuff out here. I'll probably clean off the edges right here with some isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip, but nothing too crazy going on in here. Alright, so I saw me use that electric duster. I blew most of the dust out. It's not going to get everything from beneath the motherboard or on the motherboard, but that's not my goal here. And guys, I'm not even doing a full refurbishment of this console. I'm just kind of doing like a light cleaning, blowing out most of the dust, cleaning up the the top layer here. Make it look nicer, because if you're gonna do a full refurbishment here, you could go in, you could grease the rail right here. You could clean up, you could basically take everything apart here, go down the motherboard and clean up everything there, clean up everything underneath, which is probably what should be done in a full refurbishment, but that's just not what I'm doing here. I'm just blowing out most of the dust that you can see and cleaning up some of the edges and that sort of thing. Now, if I was doing something like a PS3 or a 360, I would do like a full refurbishment there where I would take it apart. I would, replace thermal paste, clean everything up, because those really need it. And it kind of leads you to the question of, what does refurbish mean? And it's a very subjective term, somewhat. Now, as we know, there's a lot of companies out there that call stuff refurbished and don't even open up the console, which we know that's in no way refurbished. Now, what I'm doing here today, you could call refurbished, as long as you dictate on your website that that's what refurbished means. I think the issue with most refurbishing companies right now is that they just generically say refurbished and they do nothing to the console. Like, I'm doing more right now than 99% of these refurbishing companies do, which is they just don't even open the console up, and most of the time they don't even blow compressed air inside of it. So yeah, just a weird space right now. I am going to also clean this laser real quick, which is pretty easy to do. You just get your Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol, do a light circle on top of it. That'll get rid of some dust and that sort of thing. And then you want to circle with the dry end to clean it off. And a lot of times, if your console's not reading discs, that can be the solution. And yeah, this thing's looking a lot better now. Let's go ahead and clean up this side a little bit too. So I also wipe down the inside of the disk drive a bit, and what I like to do is take a baby wipe, essentially just wipe it down. And I do this with a lot of the plastics. I just wipe it down. It's a lot easier than using a tiny Q-tip all over it. And you don't want to use a magic eraser. But yeah, what I like to do is, you can see that some of that leaves a streaking mark, which is not a big deal on the inside here. What I like to do, if I do it on the outside of the console, which I haven't done yet, but I'll wipe it down, and then I'll take a microfiber cloth and immediately wipe that down, and it'll basically get rid of the streaking, which is nice. So like here, as you can see, it's not going to get rid of scratches and stuff, but it will just clean up the console. And I'll get a little bit more in the cracks and stuff here, but right after I wipe this down, I'll take this microfiber cloth and also wipe it down with that. It gets rid of most of those streaks you would see. So there you go. Obviously still scratches all over it, but it does look a lot better. And then something you can do with these little engraved letters, like here on the Sony, is you can take a toothbrush. You want like a soft bristle or something. You don't want something super hard. Dip it in isopropyl alcohol and just do a little light scrubbing. You don't want to go too crazy. Then I'll wipe that off with a microfiber cloth. And it doesn't get everything out of there, but it gets most of it out, and it looks a lot better now. Now, something I see a lot of people use that you don't want to use is a magic eraser. That's like your last resort for cleaning console like this, because it'll kind of wear down the texture and just looks bad. So definitely avoid a magic eraser if you can. So there you go, guys. That's the PS2 Slim. Obviously, this console is not perfect. It's still got some dust in it. I didn't do a full refurbishment of it, but it is a whole lot cleaner, and it's not clogged with dust like it was before. So next, let's do this fat PS2, and the first thing I want to do is take off the network adapter and just see if there's anything inside of it. All right, so open it up. That looks pretty clean, and yeah, nothing hidden inside. Unfortunate, but it's definitely dusty and a little bit dirty in there. But let's go ahead and open this console all the way up. And here goes the second warranty sticker of the day. Man, that one leaves a large void warranty mark. All right, oh, got a ribbon cable taped down. All right, I'll take that off in a minute, but let's take a look at how this console looks, and very clearly, very dusty right there. That's where the fan is. Up here in the front, it's a bit dusty as well. That's where the controller ports are, and oh yeah, this thing's covered in dust. I've definitely seen it worse, but I'll take some photos and show you, but it's definitely pretty filthy in here. All right, so we got the bottom piece off, and oh yeah, that's actually very, very funny that it leaves those little dots of dust there, because that's how the expansion bay looks. You can see this won't be too difficult to clean out. We'll just blow some air kind of all over I'll have to wipe down the bottom part here, but we'll blow air in here through the fan, wipe down the fan some, and yeah, we should be able to get this thing cleaned up pretty nicely. So just a tip, if you want to get these plastic pieces like fully cleaned and fully refurbished, you gotta dunk these in like soap and water and let them sit and then scrub them. Because what I'm doing right now, you'll never get all of the dust out. There's still gonna be some dust like in the corners and stuff, but you can get most of it out doing it this method. All right, guys, so I spent a good bit of time cleaning this console up, and blowing it out and wiping down the crevices and stuff. It's by no means perfect. I didn't take it all the way apart, so there's still some like layers of dust in the underside of the board and some other places, but it's significantly better than it was. Just take a look at this. Like, you can't see those big clumps of dirt or even the surface dust here. Cleaned out the fan pretty good as well. Also, I took the disk drive apart. I cleaned the laser. I cleaned some other stuff in here, and the tray seems to be opening better now. Let me just show you. Hit that eject button. Let's see if it stutters this time. Nope, I don't see any stuttering. So it might still stutter when I put it all the way back together, but so far, no stuttering, which is a good sign. Console's back together now. I still need to put all the screws in, but let's go ahead and test this disk drive one more time and see if it stutters at all. It does a little bit, so it's... So it must be because of the case that it's stuttering, so there's not really anything I can do about that. So I got all the screws back in, and unfortunately, as you saw earlier, we are missing a rubber foot. Not a huge deal. I do still need to wipe down the outside of the console, and the PS2 is actually a little bit tricky because it has all these little grooves in the front and around the side, so you gotta kind of get in there and get them as best as you can. But I'll do the same method as before, where I wipe it down and then I use a microfiber cloth to clean it up, and yeah, this console should be good to go. Now, unfortunately, we did have two controllers over here that don't work, but the blue one, I'll wipe down the outside some and clean it up a little bit. I probably won't open it up at all, but I'll get the the dirt out of the crevices and that sort of thing. And I'll list these two PS2s on my site if you want to buy one. So make sure to check out those links down below. And thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below if you think I got a decent deal on these. I think for 120 bucks for two working PS2s, one working controller, solid deal. I had to clean them up, but definitely not too bad. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.